Fiat. And I want to bring up this price structure because you're going to see this price structure a lot in the coming weeks, months, and years as we approach the bull market. And this is a price structure I saw extremely commonly. I remember when I first started, really paying attention back in summer 2020, I would see this pattern everywhere, and it would lead to oftentimes very explosive price action if we see a couple things. And so I kind of want to share my thoughts as to whether or not we might see that here with Fiat. So for those of you uninitiated, Fiat is essentially a fork of Aave launching on Pulse Chain. Fiat is part of the Buck Fiat ecosystem of projects. They have Fiat, which is an Aave fork. They have PHAME, which is the GMX fork, decentralized perp trading. I believe they're derivatives. It's not spot trading, but you can do leverage trading on chain, which is very cool, and also very profitable on Arbitrum and Avalanche. I believe GMX had like a 3x in the middle of a bear market when it launched. So that's very cool to see. And they also have PHUX.io, which is was it a Bancor? No, it wasn't Bancor fork. It was anyways, they have another decentralized exchange that promotes a lot of these non-rich projects launching PHUX here. So the thing that's kind of cool about PHUX, which again is part of the Fiat ecosystem, is the fact that you can have non-RH products be promoted and be on the front page. Like right here, we have the Alex, Icosa, Hadron pools. I believe we have the Maximus perp pools. Like we have Maxi, Desi, Lucky, Base, Trio here. We have Papa Boner, I think, is launching his own token. Not sure what it does, to be honest, but it's here. Time is another one I like. It also has a decent bit of liquidity here. That's actually pretty cool to see. So, PHUX kind of seems to be the place where non-RH projects, can shine. Seemingly, they can be on the front page, kind of easily found. And so I like what they're up to. I like what Buck and their team is up to. I do think it has potential. If you look at Aave performed amazingly. GMX performed amazingly. And something you got to understand, it is my opinion that if Pulse Chain is to be successful, Pulse Chain, thank you, Calentine is saying PHUX is a balancer fork. Thank you for that correction. Guys, if Pulse Chain is to succeed, Pulse Chain cannot be a ghost chain, all right? I know there's some clips of Richard Hart kind of theoretically pontificating how, Pulse Chain could succeed if with just Hex on it, and it's theoretically not impossible. But you want to have products and projects out there that provide services that whales and other ecosystems use and bring adoption. Aave is a massive, massive value proposition that whales use very actively, has lots of volume, it brings adoption. And so for us to have that feature on Pulse Chain invites people who like that feature set somewhere else to come and use Pulse Chain. So I think it is a net benefit. And so given how, I think they only raised about $10 million for the sacrifice phase for Fiat, and I think the market cap of Aave, I'm looking this up on my other screen, is about $1 billion. I think, there's 100% tons and tons of upside potential for something like Fiat. Again, potentially speaking, none of the things are guaranteed. Something like Fiat is, higher risk than Pulse Chain, but there's a non-zero chance that it might be higher reward than Pulse Chain. Now, I grant that maybe that's a low chance, but it's a non-zero chance. And so for me, I have a degen itch. I like diversifying. I like the idea of, I understand that, if Ethereum, if Pulse Chain is to be successful, there's going to be things on it that are successful as well. Like there's guys on Ethereum, there's Pepe, there's Aave, there's tons of things built on Ethereum that did hundreds of X's. Okay, it's not just Ethereum that can do well. Same thing with Pulse Chain. If Pulse Chain is going to do well, it's not just going to be RH products that do well. Now, it's an open question whether they'll perform comparably or outperform, and it's perhaps higher risk, but it's also higher reward if you end up getting it right. And so for me personally, I choose to allocate small portions of my portfolio into these diversification plays that I think warrant diversification. And one of those is Fiat. Aave is massively popular, massively utilized, a bunch of volume, is massively useful, brings in a bunch of whales on Ethereum. And so I think, that token can, or similar use case can probably do better. Yeah, literally. Right now on my other screen, Aave is just under $1 billion market cap. Uh, you know, Fiat is just under a $20 million market cap. So that's a 50x, if my math is correct, just to reach Aave in a bear market. Just to reach Aave in a bear market is a 50x. So again, there's 100% the potential for a lot of upside, but also perhaps higher risk than something like PulseChain, something like Hex, something like PulseX. Now, I wanted to bring up something about the price structure, guys. What we're noticing, the price structure is potentially enormously bullish. Where if we know what happened historically, we're getting lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower lows, lower lows. Trend analysis, the number one most important thing when it comes to technical analysis, the number one thing they teach you, or they ought to teach you when doing technical analysis, is trend analysis. The most important thing you can know is being able to identify and understand what the trend is, both on the micro and the macro. Okay. What defines a trend is higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows. And before, we're getting lower highs, lower lows, and then a bunch of sideways moving price action. And then we're noticing a shift in the momentum. Higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher highs, higher highs, higher highs. So what we're forming here, folks, is a rounded bottom, a rounded bottom. And what is a rounded bottom? A rounded bottom is potentially an enormously bullish pattern. So a rounding bottom is a chart pattern used in technical analysis and is identified by a series of price movements that graphically form the shape of a U. Rounding bottoms are found at the end of extended downward trends and signify a reversal in long-term price movements. The pattern's time frame can vary from several weeks to several months and is deemed by many traders as a rare occurrence. Ideally, volume and price will move in tandem, where volume confirms the price action. So what we want to see is confirmation. If you were to believe in whatever trend reversal you're seeing, you want to see confirmation. You want to see flipping of previously established resistance into support, getting higher time frame candles, opening and closing above it. That increases the likelihood of trend continuation. So several key levels you want to be aware of. Essentially, this 45-cent range, I think, is the inflection point for Fiat that essentially marks whether this is truly a rounded bottom or just a fake out. If we do something like this, come back up, test it, fails, or come back up, test and it fails, do something like this. What we could do is, continue the consolidation period, continue the downward pattern, potentially speaking, do something like this. And then maybe the rounded bottom needs, more time before it truly kind of breaks out. If we kind of get rejected off here, something like this can definitely kind of play out, or something like this, whatever. There's a bunch of fucking scenarios, but my point is rejection off 45 cents seems to be an inflection point. And why 45 cents? Am I pulling that out of my ass? No. The reason why I'm mentioning 45 cents is 45 cents here was clearly massive support during all our pump period, our launch period. 45 cents was the major support level. Once we broke down, 45 cents was the area that we kept getting rejected off of. So support here, resistance here, death, we never maintained above it. And so now we're testing it. And if we can get those higher time frame candles opening and closing above it, then we can see continuation. Now, something to look out for to understand if Fiat is truly ready to explode is PulseChain. PulseChain is our leading indicator. If we see PulseChain do something like this, break above, come back down and retest it, hold the support, higher time frame candles, preferably dailies opening and closing above this level, then we could increase the likelihood of us continuing to go up. And if we see that, I think that's kind of what it takes for Fiat to break above this resistance level and continue pumping. So long term, I think Fiat has a product market fit. I think it has good tokenomics, and I think has a non-zero chance of outperforming PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex, but has the added risk and added uncertainty of having less of a track record, being kind of a newer thing, which is why I choose to only allocate maybe 2, 3, 5, 10% small proportions of my portfolio, minority-sized portions of my portfolio to these diversification plays. Fiat, I think, raises the bar, or kind of meets the bar for what I consider to be a legitimate diversification play for myself personally. And so, that's why I allocate a couple percentage points. And that's why I wanted to show to you guys specifically the potential of this sort of price chart Again, if we can get a bit more confirmation with Pulse Chain, this kind of chart looks potentially ready to explode. Again, we need to see a little bit more confirmation. We can get rejected off this level and can continue to consolidate for quite some more time. But I wanted to bring this up because I've seen this pattern dozens of times before. And if we can get that bit more confirmation with Pulse Chain, that increases that potential that we could see a bit of a pump here. So that's why I wanted to bring it up.